Hello, my pretties, and happy Halloween. We are here to tell you about some very scary stuff that has been going on in Washington, D.C. ever since the beginning of this year. We sent you a recent email about life insurance trusts, and we did not mean to scare you. No, my pretties, but to help you, to help us, to help you in your planning. So we've put together this video to give you a live update on the latest Washington shenanigans. Don't move a muscle.
Seriously, folks, Ann and I wanted to come to you this morning and give you an update of what we've been watching all year. Since the beginning of 2021, many proposals have come out of Washington with regard to tax law changes that will be coming up as soon as the law is enacted, beginning next year, and there was even some rumors that it would be retroactive. We've read articles, we've watched videos, we've watched seminars, and we did not want to, as Ann's showing you, it's given us great indigestion. But because the changes have occurred, or the proposed changes have morphed and changed over time, we weren't ready to declare anything to you because we didn't want to begin scaring you before we knew exactly what was coming into play.
Yes, Victoria, I've practiced law and you've practiced law a very long time. And we've learned that Congress will talk. They will negotiate, they will bicker, they will agree and then not agree. And when you try to plan ahead of time for changes that might come down the pike, it can be detrimental. So we've been watching and waiting and consuming Tums and Pepto-Bismol for months now. And so that gave rise to our email that we sent out to you all very recently.
That's right. What happened is in mid-September, the Ways and Means Committee set out a proposal that reflected a change in the law that would greatly reduce the benefit of what's called an irrevocable life insurance trust. Now we got to pick that word apart carefully. So this is not a revocable trust. This is not a trust that receives life insurance benefits because it's the named beneficiary and this has been your revocable trust all along. This is a separate irrevocable life insurance trust that actually owns the life insurance policy on the individual. And what is happening is this type of trust came about years and years and years ago as a
decades.
Decades, as a key planning tool. Because when the exemptions were low, people needed a source of liquidity for their estate in order to pay the estate tax in a short period of time. So what they would do is set up an irrevocable life insurance trust. That trust would they would either gift their current life insurance policy into that trust, or the trust would buy a life insurance policy on the insured. And the trust itself owned it, and then the individual would gift every year into this irrevocable trust the premiums to pay for that policy. Then, when that individual passed away, if their estate had an estate tax because the exemptions were so low, then the trustee of that irrevocable life insurance trust could take the payout from the life insurance and buy assets out of the estate to provide the estate liquidity. That's the benefit of an irrevocable life insurance trust. We have clients that we created these trusts for, but we also have clients who came to us that had these trusts prior to engaging our services. So what prompted the email is when the Ways and Means Committee came out with their proposal in mid-September, we were concerned that these trusts may cause problems that weren't there before. Ann, do you want to describe that?
Well, what happened was we realized that the type of trust that they were targeting, these irrevocable life insurance trusts, which we call ILITs, they are grantor trusts. They're created by you as the grantor, and there were certain tax advantages and benefits to these grantor trusts. And what the new legislation was going to do was make them worthless as an estate planning tool. And if you had already created it and funded it completely, they would be grandfathered. But if you were still paying premiums, then at least a portion of the life insurance that we hoped would be tax-free when you died would become taxable for estate planning purposes. And the challenge for us was, we have lots of clients who have come to us after other attorneys have prepared life insurance trusts for them. So we couldn't just look at our system and pull out all the life insurance trusts and know that we were getting everybody. So we wanted to give you a heads up that if you have an ILIT, Irrevocable Life Insurance Trust, and if it is something that you're still funding, then you may need to talk to us. So we want to give you some guidelines today. It appears that under the very latest proposal, they will not be making these changes, but we still want to calm all the fears that clients may have. Oh, do I need to worry about this? By giving you some guidelines.
That's
for
right.
who needs to worry and who needs to not worry, who needs to call us and who needs to not call us.
So first of all, one of the most important definitions is the difference between an irrevocable life insurance trust or an irrevocable trust and a revocable trust. A lot of our clients have revocable trusts.
I would say the majority of our clients now have revocable living trusts because they avoid probate and they make things easier and cheaper at death.
These trusts are not what these tax law proposals affect, okay? If you have a revocable living trust as your estate planning tool, this is not the type of trust that we're talking about. What we are focused on is the irrevocable trust, in particular, the irrevocable life insurance trust that holds a life insurance policy, especially if you're paying into that policy.
That's right. If the policy is fully paid up, we have lots of clients who years ago set up these trusts and they've paid enough in premiums that they don't have to pay ever again. Those types of trusts will be grandfathered if they pass this law. Those types of trusts will not be covered. We were just concerned about the folks who are still paying in. And this applies to an individual who has insurance on his or her life alone. It also applies to husband and wife when they have a joint and survivor insurance policy, a policy that insures both of their lives.
So one of the benefits of the irrevocable trust is that when the individual dies, the value of the life insurance policy is not includable in their estate for estate tax purposes. So even though it's available to provide liquidity to their estate, it doesn't add to their estate tax problem. So if you already have an irrevocable life insurance trust that is paid up, meaning you're not having to make additional contributions to it in order to pay the premium on the policy, then you're going to be fine because it is grandfathered in, as Ann said. But if you're still making contributions to that trust, what their proposal is saying is that those contributions post-enactment will cause some of that life insurance policy to be includable in your gross estate. And that could be problematic if you have a large estate.
That's right. So we want to give you some parameters. If you're a single person and you don't own any life insurance, you're not going to be concerned about a life insurance trust. If you're a single person and your estate is worth less than approximately $5 million, this law that we've been stressing over for about a year is probably not going to have any effect on your situation at all. If you're a married couple and you're getting along, then if you have no life insurance, you still don't need to worry about the life insurance trust changes. If you're a married couple and your estate is less than, I would say, $10 million, assuming that we've done some planning for you to try to use both of your exemptions, then you still don't need to worry about the life insurance trusts. But if we have created an irrevocable life insurance trust for either you as a single client or you as a couple, and you're still making premium payments, then you're going to need to watch with us the legislation as it develops.
Especially if your estates are over $10 million for a married couple, $5 million for a single person. And the reason why we're giving you these lower values is because one of the things that also has been proposed is to reduce the exemption for estate tax purposes. Currently for an individual it's $11,700,000. For a married couple then it's $23.4 million. Doesn't affect a lot of people. But if those exemptions do drop and you have an irrevocable life insurance trust, which you're still contributing to, then we need to just make sure that if part of that policy is brought back into your estate under these new proposed laws, that is not going to cause a tax that you weren't expecting.
And the reason we're doing this video today is that last week, on Thursday, I guess, we received information, and we are providing you with links to some articles and information on the web to explain this in far more detail. But we received information that before President Biden left for the Vatican, he developed with all the other folks in Washington a framework for a much reduced spending package. And when they do this, they have their spending package and then they show you how they're going to pay for it. Well, with this reduced spending package, the outline of the policies and programs and changes that they're going to make to, quote, pay for this legislation, wink, wink, do not include estate tax changes at all. They're apparently, in the latest iteration of this, are not going to touch estate taxes. So we think that means that your grantor trusts, primarily life insurance trusts, are going to be left alone. We think that other changes they were talking about, like disallowing all fractional interest discounts for business interests and real estate fractional interests, and immediately going from 11.7 down to 6 million. All of those changes that they've talked about for almost
months
a year,
and months,
are apparently off the table at the moment. We are going to send you a link to a Forbes article that says we may not be out of the woods quite yet. So our goal today in the video is to beef up the information in the email that we sent, put most of your minds at rest, and alert the rest of you to give us a call. So happy Halloween, happy Thanksgiving. We take thanks for all of you. All of you. And the one good thing about having you call us is we get to hear your voice again, and we get to connect again, which is always wonderful.
But we don't want to scare you, even though it is Halloween season.
It's Halloween.
We just want you to be aware that there are proposed changes being discussed, and we will keep you informed as we learn more.
That's right. So remember, at McKinney & Tillman, we want you to pass it on well.